Speaking of which, a couple of teams in the NFC South are trying to make the most of their offseason. They've gotten themselves into and have kind of been swimming around the waters trying to get themselves into the Derek Carr sweepstakes. Well, now they can officially get in because the Raiders, of course, released QB1 on Tuesday, and the Panthers and Saints are salivating trying to get him there. And it's interesting because the Panthers definitely, of course, everybody knows that they have the cap space to be able to go after him and they have assets. What I don't think a lot of people realize is that the Saints, everyone always says they're in cap hell and then they always end up getting somebody. And it's like, how did they pull it off?
Every year, T.
Every stinking year. So if they want him, trust and believe they'll find a way. Because remember, they were one of the finalists to go after Deshaun Watson. He just chose the Browns because the Browns were the team that gave the full guarantee. Mm-hmm. That said, I feel like, first of all, the Falcons are still in the catbird seat, maybe until the Saints get Derek Carr. That might make it a little bit different being in the catbird seat. But you think about Derek Carr and the fact that for them, he would be a starter, both the Saints and the Panthers. Here, maybe not so much, because I personally don't believe he would be the type of veteran quarterback that the Falcons should or would or could consider bringing in, because he wants to be a starter. And I believe the Falcons already have a starter.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, T, because like we've talked about on this show, how we really believe that the Falcons are going to build around Desmond Ridder, because that's what makes the most sense, right? Like they were super sold on this guy last year at the Senior Bowl. Terry Fontenot said those exact words. Like they were sold on him because of the consistency that he brought every time they interact with him, whether it be on the field or in the locker room or in the cafeteria or wherever, in the bathroom. It don't matter. And that's one of the things that I feel like as an organization, you got to believe what you see or believe what you feel. If you feel and believe that that's the guy at that moment, that shouldn't change a year later. You know what I'm saying? So I think that a veteran quarterback would make sense for the Falcons, but definitely not Derek Carr. And I think it's really interesting that you have the Panthers and the Saints being the main suitors for Derek Carr, because I think they really feel that the Falcons may be in the best place in the NFC South to compete, because you got a young quarterback who showed promise. You got some weapons on offense. Your offensive line run block from a great standpoint, and you're maybe one addition away to be able to be much better in that pass blocking category. And then you got enough capital and money to go out and build your defense. And you got a defense coordinator who you wholeheartedly believe in, who has the general manager talking about winning the games on both sides of the football up front and not on the outside. Yeah, T, I think the Panthers and Saints, they are on notice because they understand what the Falcons bring to the table. I really wholeheartedly believe that.
Yeah, and the Falcons should take notice that the Saints and the Panthers are on notice, because I think everybody right now is feeling the same way that Dirty Bird fans are feeling, right? So I feel like in New Orleans and in Carolina, they're both saying, well, shoot, this division is wide open. I think all three teams believe that the division is wide open and that they can do something major to vault them to the top of the conversation. And I can't disagree with that if you get Derek Carr. That does change the game for both of those franchises, because we did see what Steve Wilkes, especially, and I'll highlight him with what he was able to do for the Panthers on the backside of the season when he was interim head coach. And they still didn't really have a squad on the offensive side of the ball. He was able to work with little or nothing and keep them in contention for the playoffs for as long as the Falcons were in contention. So I do think that it could go both ways, right? To your point, Falcons looking like they do, shoring things up, may make the Saints and Panthers over here think, ooh, we got to get cracking. But then once they start getting going and they show their aggressiveness, if they're going to be aggressive and get into win now mode, then that could put some more pressure on the Falcons as well. Like, hey, your easiest path to the postseason is still going to be winning your division.
Absolutely.
So now that they're shoring themselves up to try to get the NFC South, what is it that we're going to do? So I kind of like it, because I feel like no one should rest on their laurels based on what they think they have right now or what they think they're going to get. Go hard in the paint and see what happens.
Yeah, I think that's kind of, especially in today's world, right? Because you got Frank Reich, who's a new head coach. he understands what's going on and how people really feel like he didn't deserve to get that job. So he is hiring a super uber veteran coaching staff,
Yes.
from Chip Caldwell to Giro Avero,
Yeah.
as far as, being the hot defense coordinator or hot head coaching
Hmm.
candidate to bring him in as a DC, and
Hmm.
Deuce Staley. So he is loading up on that coaching staff. So and you got the Saints who, hey, they know they have some guys on defense and they have some
Hmm.
guys on offense as well. They know
Yes.
what they need to
Yeah.
be able to get them to where they want to be. So, and
Yeah.
Dennis Allen knows he ain't got long,
Hmm.
because I'm sure they'll pull the trigger if they feel like he's not the head coach going for at least going forward for the next few years. So, I think this NFC South division is in good hands, and people understand. Except for the Buccaneers, like, I can't
Yeah,
speak for them.
that's
Like
right.
they
And
seem to be out of the
yeah,
conversation right now.
exactly. Our conversation has been on three teams ad nauseum since the Bucs got ousted from the postseason
Right.
and Tom Brady did his 17-second goodbye video. Like at that
Glad it was that
point,
short too, by the way.
right. It compared to last year. But yeah, they became a non-factor instantaneously.
Right.
They became a non-factor instantaneously. So yeah, I do think it's one of those situations where, you probably are going to have more upheaval on the sidelines, got more upheaval on the field. Who knows what that front office is going to look like as far as upheaval? I don't know. So yeah, I do think it's very difficult to keep them in the conversation at this point based on so much uncertainty across the board. That's just, how I feel. But look, Falcons fans, you're still in a good position. Tampa Bay Bucs fans, not so much. So if you live in Atlanta and you're a Bucs fan, you might want to invest in some Built Bars, because from now to the NFL Combine to the actual draft and free agency and all points in between, it's kind of hard out here for you. But at least you can eat a nice coconut almond bar. Churro is a great flavor, peanut butter
Yes,
as
it
well.
is.
And again, we go to the fact that it's easily digestible, right? It's soluble because and we talk about the 17 grams of protein. When a bar gives you that kind of energy that quickly, you could go out and do just about anything, like me trying to get back to my sexy dance self, which I'm not today. So maybe I need to eat a Built Bar as well so I can get my energy up and get moving. And
Yeah.
also 130 grams of fat. Remember, we always tell you guys, or calories rather, that is still a decrease. The reason we mention it every single time is because if a company's that committed to your health, you should be too. So you can continue, of course, to order it at Build.com if you're like most people and you like doing it online at the comfort of your own home, go for it. Or if you like being at Wally World because you just want to be entertained by everybody at Wally World, go to Walmart and you've got boxes there. And of course, the big bulk boxes at Sam's Club. So again, check out Built Bars because really it's good to you and it is good for you.